Stuck in that bar exam prep rut? You're not alone. Ready to ditch the memorize till you drop method.
Oh, absolutely. It's about working smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
And definitely not longer.
Music to my ears. Today, we're diving deep into a different approach, one that prioritizes understanding. We've got excerpts from a webinar called, get this, Do Something Different.
Catchy, right.
Totally. It's by Jackson Mumey, the founder of Celebration Bar Review. They're known for their unique approach to bar prep, especially for repeat takers.
They really focus on helping students break free from those old, ineffective study habits.
We'll also get into their take on learning how to learn better. That's something we can all use, right?
Absolutely, whether you're facing the bar or just any big intellectual challenge.
It's about making that mental shift from memorizing to actually understanding, applying,
And recognizing those pesky roadblocks that trip us up along the way.
which Mumey brilliantly calls out as the first step, destination. I
Oh,
love that.
it's so true.
It's not enough to just want to pass, right?
Right.
You have to envision your entire legal career, what you're working towards, and acknowledge those hurdles that might be holding you back.
The fear of failing, those distractions that creep in, feeling totally overwhelmed. It's that feeling of, how on earth am I going to conquer this thing?
Exactly. It's like staring down this massive mountain of legal textbooks, you know? And that's when those tempting bar prep myths rear their ugly heads,
Oh, I know those myths.
promising a clear path, but so often, dead ends.
Yeah.
Mumey calls them out, and it's so refreshing.
It is, because those myths, they can be really seductive, especially when you just want answers.
You're desperate.
Exactly.
So, myth #1, memorization is king.
It's like it's ingrained in our academic DNA, right?
Right, but it's the worst way to actually learn,
Yeah.
especially for the bar exam.
Because it's about applying that knowledge, not just spitting it back out.
Exactly. Think about it. Some states have even moved to open book exams.
Whoa, seriously?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a clear sign that memorization isn't the be-all and end-all.
What a wake-up call. Which leads us to myth #2, the dreaded IRS.
Oh, IRC.
Yeah.
Issue, rule, analysis, conclusion.
The classic legal writing structure that, ironically,
Doesn't reflect how lawyers actually practice law.
right, it's like trying to solve a puzzle while riding a roller coaster. Celebration Bar Review, they ditch IRSE for a fact law application approach, which makes so much more sense.
It's so much more practical.
It's about understanding how those elements work together, not rigid formulas.
Love that. Okay, myth #3, get ready for it. This one's a doozy. Hard work conquers all.
Oh boy.
Sounds inspiring, but
But it can backfire big time. Burnout, diminishing returns, it's a recipe for disaster.
right. Like, you can only spin your wheels for so long.
Exactly. Mumey actually cites a New York bar study, showed more hours studied, didn't mean better scores.
It's about working smarter, remember?
Always.
And that's where this whole idea of selective intuition comes in. Celebration Bar Review really emphasizes this.
It's fascinating, right?
Totally. It's not just about knowing the law, but developing that sixth sense for what's truly important.
Seeing the forest and the trees. It's about recognizing those patterns, connecting the dots, trusting your gut.
It's like that aha
Huh.
moment. The puzzle pieces click,
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what helps you transform information into actual usable knowledge.
which is what the bar exam and life is all about.
Exactly. And that brings us to the next crucial step. Responsibility.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
It's about recognizing that you have power in this process.
Yes, owning it.
Regardless of any setbacks, any limiting beliefs.
I love that. Mumey ties this back to the incredible stories of his past students. People who took control, embraced a new approach, and achieved those life-changing results.
They really stepped into their power.
So inspiring. Okay, let's talk time commitment.
Yeah.
How much time do we really need for bar prep?
This is where it gets interesting. Mumey throws out a stat that's both encouraging and kind of mind-blowing.
Hit me with it.
250, 300 hours of focused study can be enough.
Wait, seriously?
Seriously.
That's a far cry from the 500, 700, sometimes even more that we always hear about.
Right. It's about quality over quantity, making every single study minute count.
So how do we do that?
That's where spaced repetition comes in.
Ooh. Tell me more about this magic spaced repetition.
It's like, imagine revisiting material at these strategic intervals, you know?
Okay.
Gradually increasing the time between reviews helps solidify those neural pathways.
So it's about working with our brains, not against them.
Exactly. It's way more effective than just cramming everything in at the last minute.
Which, let's be honest, usually just leads to panic and information overload. Okay, so we've ditched the myths, we're taking responsibility, optimizing our study time. But what about the emotional side? Bar prep is intense,
Absolutely. It can really mess with your mind.
especially for repeat takers.
Oh, especially. That's why Mumey's second component of responsibility is huge. Protect your investment.
I love that because it is an investment.
Right, a huge one. Emotional, financial, mental, you name it. Don't give up on yourself.
It's about silencing that inner critic, those voices that say, you're not good enough or you'll never pass.
Those thoughts can be so destructive.
Mumey calls it being stuck in a trance.
And we have to break free from that trance, challenge those beliefs, step into a more empowered mindset.
It's like the clouds part, and you can actually see the path forward.
That's a great way to put it. And often that clarity comes from shifting our focus.
From I can't to how can I?
Exactly. And sometimes that means realizing we don't have to do this alone.
Which brings us to Mumey's third step, collaboration. The power of community, right?
Yes. Mentorship, support, it makes a world of difference.
Especially with something as isolating as bar prep.
It can feel like you're just buried in books, battling those doubts by yourself.
The pressure's on. And having that support network, it's huge.
It really is. Mumey actually frames this whole section around a great question.
Oh, let's hear it.
What do you expect from your bar review?
So good. Because it's not a one-size-fits-all thing, right?
Exactly. You have to know what you need, make sure your program aligns with that.
And it seems like a lot of students, they're craving more than just the black letter law.
Oh, for sure. They want guidance, support, a sense of belonging.
To feel heard, understood, which is a perfect segue into how Celebration Bar Review does things.
Right. They have this whole quality instruction beyond black letter law thing.
About that.
It's about application comprehension, not just rote memorization.
It's like they're providing the tools and the blueprint to build your legal dream house.
Love that analogy. And they get that communication is key.
Oh, huge.
Regular feedback, that individual attention, feeling heard throughout the process.
It's about creating that environment where you can actually thrive. Celebrating the small wins.
Exactly. Which ties into their third expectation, encouragement, more than just a pep talk.
It's about cultivating that belief in yourself, even when things get tough.
Which they do really well. They offer personal mentoring, group coaching calls.
Wow, they even have a private community group. That's a whole support system. It really is.
Okay, but it's not enough to just absorb all this knowledge, right? We have to actually use it.
Which brings us to Mumey's final step, movement. Taking action, putting in the work.
Showing up consistently, even when you'd rather hide under the covers.
Oh, tell me about it. But consistency is key, and Mumey breaks movement down into 3 parts.
Okay, lay out on me.
First up, get started now. Small steps, big impact.
Love it, because it's so easy to get overwhelmed.
The best way to combat that, just start. Even small steps create momentum.
15 minutes a day, it all adds up. Which reminds me, second component, retrain your mind. Repetition is your superpower.
Spaced repetition, our old friend.
Back again.
Revisiting material consistently strengthens those neural pathways.
Building those legal muscles, getting them in fighting shape for the exam. Exactly. But how do we know if our training's working? That's where the third part comes in.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Measure your progress. Adjust and adapt. Stay accountable. Know your strengths and weaknesses.
So like a personalized training plan that adapts as you go.
You got it. And Celebration Bar Review gets that. Regular assessments, feedback, flexibility.
Okay, we've got this framework. Ditch the myths, take responsibility, collaborate, take action. But what does this actually look like in the real world?
Well, that's where things get really exciting. We get to hear from real students.
You're talking about those inspiring success stories.
The ones that make you believe anything's possible.
Give me all the inspiration.
Okay, so first up, we've got Cynthia. Struggled with the California bar, which we know, one of the toughest. But she didn't give up. Joined Celebration Bar Review, changed her mindset.
Realize doing the same thing over and over again. Not a winning strategy.
Exactly. In the webinar, she actually says, I did something different, which is exactly what she did.
I love that.
Embraced the new approach, found support in the community, and bam.
It paid off.
Yeah.
See, this is what I love about these stories. It's about taking control, finding what works for you.
Absolutely. And sometimes all it takes is one person to break the mold.
Be that inspiration.
Exactly. Cynthia's success, it actually inspired her friends to try Celebration Bar Review, too.
They were probably watching her like, wait, she's actually enjoying this.
Right. And sometimes it's about revisiting a dream you thought was gone, like Alex's story.
Ooh, tell me more about Alex.
Took the Florida bar multiple times, kept getting closer, but never quite there.
Ugh, I can feel that frustration. It's easy to start doubting yourself.
Totally. And that's where he was. Gave up on law, thought it was a lost cause.
Hit that wall.
Exactly. But years later, something shifted. Decided to give it another shot.
What made him decide to come back to it?
He realized he needed a fresh perspective, a new approach. Reached out to Jackson Mumey for guidance.
Smart move. Sometimes you need that outside perspective, that fresh pair of eyes.
And just as importantly, he realized the power of his own self-talk. Had to ditch the I can't mentality.
We are our own worst critics. Those limiting beliefs, they can be so sneaky.
Tell me about it. So, did he end up retaking the Florida bar?
That's the question.
Actually switched to the uniform bar exam, the UBE, with Celebration Bar Review's help.
Okay.
And it passed on the first try.
No way. Get out of here. See, this is what I'm talking about. Perseverance, self-belief, the right support.
And he didn't just scrape by, he scored significantly above passing.
Wow. Talk about proving those doubts wrong.
He really embraced those methodologies, In the webinar, he talks about how the mind maps and visual learning tools were game changers for him.
It's like those tools unlock something in his brain, helped him make those connections.
Exactly. And it highlights something so important. Optimized learning, it's not one size fits all.
It's about finding what works for you.
Oh.
Okay, hit me with another inspiring story.
Get ready to be amazed. This is Abigail's story, and it's all about resilience.
Lay it on me.
Imagine this. The same day she finds out she failed the North Carolina bar exam.
Oh no, that's rough.
She gets devastating news from her doctor, breast cancer.
Oh wow. Talk about a double whammy. I can't even imagine.
It's hard to fathom, right? But her story is incredible. She had a mastectomy, took time to recover,
Taking care of herself.
and then decided to tackle the bar again. But this time, she knew she needed a different approach.
Had to switch things up.
Exactly. And that's when she found Celebration Bar Review.
Of course. It's like it was meant to be.
Right. She stumbled across one of their videos, and something just clicked.
The do something different approach.
Exactly. But it wasn't just the methodology, it was the community, that feeling of not being alone.
That's huge. Shared experience, support, especially when facing such a demanding challenge.
In the webinar, Abigail actually says, "The group collective support made a huge difference for me."
It's like having a whole squad of cheerleaders in your corner rooting you on.
The best kind of cheerleaders. And the flexibility of the program was crucial, too.
Oh, tell me more about that.
She realized she couldn't cram 300 hours into 10 weeks, so she spread it out, started earlier.
There's that spaced repetition magic again. It's like the gift that keeps on giving.
Right. It's about sustainability, especially when life throws you curveballs.
So what happened with her second attempt?
She passed. And not only did she pass, but she also raised her score by 11 points.
11 points. Seriously. That's amazing.
Her dedication, her resilience, her willingness to try something new, it all paid off.
Talk about turning adversity into an advantage. What an inspiration.
It really is. And it gets even better. Her score was so good, she's now qualified to practice in 26 jurisdictions.
26. Are you kidding me? That's incredible.
I know. It's proof that even in the face of incredible challenges, we have the power to create our own success.
Love that. Okay, I need to hear more of these stories. Who's next?
This next one is all about those small, consistent actions, those moments, as Jackson Mumey calls them.
Those little things that we often overlook, but they add up to big results.
Exactly. And this is Jim's story.
All right, Jim, what's your story?
Well, Jim, like a lot of us, he took the bar exam and failed multiple times.
Been there, felt that.
Right. He was frustrated, knew something had to change, but wasn't sure what.
That feeling of being stuck.
Exactly. And for him, structure and consistency were key. He traveled a lot for work, which made studying a challenge.
The struggle is real. Finding the time, the energy, it's tough.
He had to be really intentional, carve out those pockets of time, those moments to make progress.
Even if it's just 15 minutes here, 30 minutes there, it all makes a difference.
Exactly. And he also realized the importance of having a playbook, a plan to follow.
Which is exactly what Celebration Bar Review provides, right? A roadmap to success.
Exactly. He let go of his old ways, embraced their approach, and guess what?
He finally did it. He passed the bar.
He did. In the webinar transcript, he describes receiving his results as becoming a blubbering idiot with joy.
Oh, I love that. The pure joy of achieving a long-sought-after goal.
It's the best feeling. And again, he didn't just barely make it, he passed with flying colors.
So inspiring.
Yeah.
It's amazing how one person's success can have a ripple effect.
Isn't it? Jim's perseverance, his willingness to try something different, it inspired others around him.
Proof that our actions, our choices, they matter. They have the power to inspire.
And that brings us to our final success story. This one really embodies all 4 steps of Mumey's framework.
Okay, you've got my attention. Hit me with it.
This is Cindy's story, and it's all about the power of community and embracing change.
I'm here for it.
So Cindy, she'd also failed the UBE multiple times.
Ugh, I feel that. It's so easy to start feeling defeated after a while.
Right. She came to Celebration Bar Review feeling totally unsure of herself, wondering if she'd ever be a lawyer.
That self-doubt can be so crippling. It's like a voice in your head saying, maybe this isn't for you.
Exactly. But just like our other success stories, Cindy had this realization. She had to do something different.
She had to take control of her learning, find a new approach, and surround herself with support.
And that's exactly what she found at Celebration Bar Review. It really was. And it was within that community that she really transformed.
So how'd she approach this whole do something different thing?
She dove headfirst into that Celebration Bar Review community. She knew she needed that support.
Smart. There's something so powerful about shared experience.
Absolutely. In the transcript, she talks about setting up accountability partners, joining those group coaching calls.
Love that. It's like turning isolation into camaraderie.
Exactly. And that, combined with their structured approach, the emphasis on spaced repetition, active learning, it was a game changer for her.
So after all those setbacks, did she finally conquer the UBE?
She did. And not just pass, she aced it. Her score, qualified to practice in 15 states.
Right now, 15 states. From feeling defeated to that. That's amazing.
Right. Talk about a testament to believing in yourself even when it's tough.
And being open to new approaches? Finding that support?
100%. It's a beacon of hope for anyone who's ever felt lost on their path.
We all have more potential than we realize. Sometimes we just need the right guidance to unlock it.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, busted some myths, explored this whole optimized learning thing.
It's been quite the deep dive, but I think the biggest takeaway is that no matter how tough things get, there's always a way to work smarter, not harder.
To embrace those aha moments and find the strategies that work for us.
Absolutely. And never be afraid to ask for help. We don't have to do this alone.
So true. Well, on that note of inspiration, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Remember, whether you're tackling the bar exam or any other challenge, keep that curiosity alive. Never stop learning, never stop growing, and never underestimate the power of the right approach and a supportive community. Until next time, happy learning.